Hello everyone and welcome to our race day highlights from a new dawn of enduro racing. The first ever UCI mountain bike Enduro World Cup from Maydena Bike Park in Tasmania. It was quiet and cold at the top of the mountain, but down in the race village the famous Aussie fans were starting to turn up the heat. The first stage of the first race of the year was 4 kilometres of dust and noise all the way to the bottom of Maydena Bike Park. It was time to go racing. Temperatures continued to increase. The stages were getting drier, looser and much harder to judge.
Lost the front wheel into a bank over the bars. The problem was the first minute of the first stage of the season, but that's racing.
They're loose. There's like deep pits of dust. Very different to what we practiced.
Well, it's going to be hard to find the pace. It's a lot more blown out than expected. Lines that should be there are now gone, but it's a lot of fun.
Hey, Matty! Woo! Go, go, go! Woo!
How's that? It's not the best start.
Reigning UCI mountain bike downhill world champion Velo had made the long trip to Tasmania and was making it worth the effort. The Austrian was fastest on stage 1 for a long time. Even last year's number 2, Morgan Schär, couldn't top her time.
A bit messy at the top, I missed like all the line. It was good, but it's a long stage to start the day.
But the reigning champ Isabelle Corderie could. The Frenchwoman went 3.4 seconds faster.
It's so tough.
Only 5 seconds.
It's my first race of the
between the
season.
top 4 riders.
Really, it's bronze.
Isabelle Corderie opened her account for 2023 right on the first stage, but it was the UCI downhill world champion Velo who was closest to her, just 3 seconds off. Morgan Schär, Ella Connolly and Kate Weatherly were chasing them down. There was a sprinkling of international level downhill talent in the elite men's with Luke Meyer-Smith, Troy Brosnan and Conor Fearon all in attendance. Despite the cold start, conditions were much drier than in practice. Troy Brosnan took the lead on stage 1.
Stage 1, Troy Brosnan goes low.
I want to swear, but I can't. That's messed up, dude. That's hard. I tried to like chill and not overcook it and be ready for the bottom, and I was still just done.
But not for long. Luke Meyer-Smith, the newly crowned Aussie national champ, took the lead by 4 seconds. But Dan Booker, the local, was having none of it. He took the lead by 1.1.
The conditions are like as good as they get. It's so sick. Good to get that one out of the way. Keep on cruising.
Could the Enduro big names fight back against the pride of Aussie downhill?
Go! Go on!
Try to go back into it. Yeah.
dude. Quite different from
Moving up
practice.
for 16.
Yeah, it's been quite hard, eh?
7:36.
Only the reigning overall title holder, Jesse Melamed, was left at the top.
Go on. Go, go, go. Go, Jesse! Last rider on the hill, Jesse Melamed from Canada. Cheer him all the way down the last straight. He's your defending Enduro World Champion. He goes over the last jump, but it's good for fourth. Great start by the top riders.
How was that?
Hard.
Brutal?
Such a hard first stage of the season.
Booker held on to win stage 1. Richie Rude and the champ Jesse Melamed came in 3rd and 4th respectively. Maydena, a brand new venue, was to be the first of 7 UCI mountain bike Enduro World Cup stops on this year's tour. The bike park was first opened in 2018 and now boasts well over 100 kilometres of trail, the most savage of which were now stages. The course in the brand new venue of Maydena Bike Park brought with it just about every conceivable challenge a modern mountain bike racer can face. The second stage of the 54.5 kilometre course was on the other side of the park, outer limits, at 1.8 kilometres in length. After that, the third stage was Thrash Horse, just 1200 metres but 1200 metres of full-on downhill track. The second half of the race was no less daunting. Stage 4, the Natty, was 1.4 kilometres in length, before the 2.1 kilometres and 361 vertical metres of wedge tail on stage 5. The final twist would be on stage 6, Tech as Heck. 4.5 kilometres and 810 vertical metres of one of the toughest stages in the sport's history. The second stage, Outer Limits, ramped the speeds up even higher as the bike park began to bite back. Valley Hole was going well, and despite this moment, she managed to win stage 2. But that stage win from Hole meant that Cordurier's lead was now a scant 0.1 of a second. After 2 stages of racing then, the race looked like this. Isabel Cordurier led Valentina Hole, who in turn led Ella Connolly. Morrison, Scarzy and Richter rounded out the top 10. Stage 2 was high speed and not much separated the top men. It was still early in the race, but only 4 seconds covered the top 5. Luke Meyer-Smith took the win over Dan Booker after stage 2, but it was Jesse Melamed who won his first stage of the year to leapfrog Richie Rude into 3rd in the overall. Meyer-Smith led the way in the elite men's from Booker, Werner, Brosnan and Gilchrist, who were comfortably in the top 10 and all looking fast. The third stage of the day was Thrash Horse, consisting of 4 separate trails. 1.2 kilometres of length, it dropped 160 vertical metres, but perhaps the biggest and rowdiest thing about it were the crowds. If riders could make it safely to the finish line, they would be rewarded with the technical assistance zone, a chance to get bikes fixed and bodies fueled up. Jack Moyer was still on the comeback trail from that hand surgery in the off-season. The big Australian was currently in 24th on the road.
Bit of a struggle, eh? Made a meal of that first one. I rode like a goober.
crowds were wild. Like, it's really nice to have an enduro track that's like fully lined with people all the way down.
Like, there's so many people on stage 3, it was amazing.
Lower line, and there's just people everywhere, bikes everywhere, people just making loads of noise. It's like really vibing up there.
Disaster struck for Canyon Collective's big off-season signing, Jessie Melamed. The Canadian held on to the mother of all saves over the step down, but was left with a flat rear and would roll home in 71st.
I just had like 10 psi on my tire, maybe less, so that's kind of a bummer because I feel like I'm riding really well. So 3 more stages though, so plenty of riding left.
Forbidden's Reese Werner was inside the top 5 on the stage and in the overall.
I really like the trails. Like, they're some of the more fun trails we've raced for sure. And I really like the long ones, so 1 and 6 give you a chance to kind of get into it and find some flows.
Myer-Smith won a stage with Gilchrist separating him and Booker for an all-Australian affair. Myer-Smith led Booker, who led Rude in the overall. Melamed slipped to 8th. Valley Hole won again on the last stage before lunch. Ella Connolly was looking to be back to her scintillating early 2022 season form and was right behind her in second, just ahead of Morgan Schauer. Hole wasn't just winning stages, she was now winning the race. Valley led Isabeau by 2.7 seconds. Connolly was third, just ahead of Schauer. Natty DH, rocks, crowds, line choice. Freshly fueled and serviced, the Natty was stage 4 and awaited to kickstart the second half of the race. High speeds, dappled light and stages much dustier than those of practice continued to cause havoc. At 29 years of age, Troy Brosnan isn't exactly the elder statesman of Australian downhill, but that said, he had definitely had enough of watching the new guard win stages. The man from Adelaide won on stage 4. The elite men's pack was well and truly shuffled after the 4th stage. Brosnan was up 4 places into 3rd, Myer-Smith still led from Booker, Rude was 4th, and Fearon remained in contention in 5th. Was the electric pace starting to tell on Valley Hole? The Austrian star was 4th on stage 4. Cordelier, Connolly and Schauer pounced. The Lapierre Zip Collective rider won the stage, her second of the day. That meant that the overall remained just about one of the tightest in elite women's history. Cordelier led by just 0.3 of a second. The 5th stage was the penultimate stage before the sharp end would be reseeded into their order on the road. Despite nearing its culmination, there was still plenty to play for at the front of both races. Wedgetail was stage 5 and it was a combination of 6 separate bike park trails and featured some extremely heavy duty rocks on one of them, the Nunnery. Bex Barona and Hattie Harnden were fighting it out for 4th and 5th. Valley Hole Stage 5 did not go according to plan.
got a bit too excited. I heard I was not doing that bad, so I thought, well, just keep going. So I had a bit of a hugie, a bit sore, but just trying to finish the day.
Cordelier, 2 times a champion, capitalised and took the stage win. That then put her 9.6 seconds ahead of Morgan Schär. Schär led a trio of Brits. Ella Connolly was the fastest amongst them, ahead of Bex Barona and Hattie Harnden. Kate Weatherly was in 6th. It was disaster for one of the home favourites. Troy Brosnan slipped from 3rd down to 7th.
A little digger on that stage, but I won a stage, so enduro life complete.
3rd position was now all to play for. Rude and Fearon were going to have to go head to head. It was Conor Fearon who came out on top. He would topple Rude by just under 2 seconds. In every corner on every stage, Dan Booker remained imperiously fast. He was still holding on to 2nd and still well within range of a win. Luke Meyer-Smith took another stage win on 5. The number 25 Giant was starting to look good ahead of the number 21 Nukeproof in the overall. The gap was now out to 5 seconds. One more stage stood in the young Australian's way. For the 6th and final stage, the monster that was Tech as Heck awaited. The front end of the race would be reseated into their order on the road. Any issues on the stage and your 32nd rider would have your position in their sights. Reseated at the start of the final stage for the first time, the tension at the top was palpable.
Yeah, it's a long stage now, so everything can change pretty quick.
You can't think about anyone else when you're racing. Like, yeah, you've got to stay fully focused on what you're riding, like not what everyone else is doing.
Ray Morrison had her best result of the day, finishing 3rd on the stage, but it was the Battle of Britain between Ella Connolly, Bex Barona and Hattie Harnden that was really heating up.
Three riders left on course.
Despite a broken chain, it was Connolly who would pip her compatriots to the final step on the podium. That just left 2 riders, Isabeau Cordelier and Morgan Schär at the top.
And here she comes, today.
Morgan Schär won the battle, taking the final stage, but it was Isabeau Cordelier who won the war, taking her first win of the new season in some style. The only quiet place left in Maydena Bike Park was the very top of stage 6, where the top 30 men, freshly reseeded, awaited to decide the race.
No, yeah, doing alright. I think 3rd coming to the last stage, but it's a big stage and this is going to be a hard one for me, like such a long stage.
Bit of imposter syndrome going on at the moment, honestly. Like, I'm surrounded by the fastest people in the world.
Yeah, holding it pretty solid here in 4th place. Got some guys close behind me and got the Aussies in front, so yeah.
It's been such a fun day out and just finished it off. It's kind of cool just Luke and I being up the top at the end, so it'll be sweet.
yeah, been going well. Just yeah, putting smooth laps in, and it's yeah, paying off. Yeah, a bit blown away right now. Just gotta yeah, make this last one count and get down the hill. So yeah, see how we finish. So excited.
In fourth position. Go, go, go! He sends it all the way, and Reese has snuck into the top spotlight. Ryan Lawson into the hot seat. Sorry to cut you off, but he's flying over the last jump. Oh, second. Troy hangs on. Make some noise! He's into the top spot.
The hot seat changed hands in a steady rotation of the world's fastest racers until just 2 riders remained at the top. Booker threw everything at the final section of Tech as Heck, but it wouldn't be enough. Luke Meier-Smith won his first ever UCI Mountain Bike Enduro World Cup with a win on the final stage by just 0.02 of a second. Were you keeping an eye on them? Were you aware of how fast you're going out there?
Yeah, I was aware, but just tried to hit my laps and not think about it too much, which paid off. So stoked. Like, just kept it clean all day. And
looking forward to Derby?
Yeah, it should be sick. Yeah, looking forward to that one.
After a breathless day of racing in Maydena Bike Park, Isbouker Derrier opens her account for the season. Morgan Schauer was 9.5 seconds back in second and Ella Connolly was third. Bex Barona brought her Getty home in fourth ahead of Hattie Harnden. Luke Meier-Smith then takes Giant Factory off-roads and his own debut UCI Mountain Bike Enduro World Cup win ahead of Dan Booker and Connor Fearon. Rhys Werner had a fantastic start to the year with a 4th place, just edging ahead of Troy Brosnan and Ryan Gilchrist. 7th isn't what Richie Rood will have come to Tasmania for, but he would take being the highest finishing of the big 4, with Mays in 14th and Moyer and Melamed down 18th and 19th respectively. The team's championship threw up an equally unforeseen result. Forbidden Synthesis confounded the big guns and took to their first ever top step ahead of Giant Factory Off-Road and Yeti Fox. What a day of racing then from Maydena Bike Park at the opening UCI Mountain Bike Enduro World Cup of the year. We are already preparing to head north to Derby for round 2 in just a few days' time. Thanks for watching, and there's plenty more to look forward to. We'll see you there.